I don't know if this video is ever gonna make it onto the internet. I don't really know how to start off this video. Hey guys, you guys read the title. You guys know what this video is going to be. So there's this really popular YouTube trend that I've seen people do where they talk about where they're at in their life, what their experience is, and what they've learned 1 year after a heartbreak. And I thought to myself, I mean, you guys know me. If given the option to turn pain, suffering, trauma into content, you know I'm gonna do it. Around this time last year, I went out, or I guess like I didn't go out seeking this, but I went out and got my heart broken. Somebody took my heart in their hand and they crushed it, and then they threw it on the ground, and then they stomped all over it, and then they picked it back up and they crumbled it like a piece of paper, and then they threw it back on the ground and ran over it with their car. And that's where I was 1 year ago. My therapist had recommended that I make a YouTube video. She knows that I'm so passionate about making YouTube videos and that it's kind of a way that I like cope with my emotions, and she knew it was like the thing I love most in the world is like making videos. So she recommended that I get all my thoughts and feelings and emotions about the breakup out there by making a video. She was like, put it all in the video, edit the video, even upload it if you want, but put that shit on private because ain't nobody need to see that. She was right. And don't even play, that video does not exist anywhere. It's not out there for anyone to see, okay? It's not on any of my YouTube channels, although you're about to see it today, because we're gonna react to that video. In hindsight, I don't think that making that video was a good idea. Not for me anyway, because I'm very emotional, I'm very dramatic, and when I think about everything all at once like that, to like put it in a concise YouTube video, I just started to spiral. But like, you'll see. I feel like people are gonna think that I made this video for like drama and tea, and I hate to disappoint you, but there isn't really gonna be any drama or tea. It's not the reason that I'm making this video. I want to make this video because I think that it's important to remember what you were feeling in the moment when you got heartbroken, because I think that's the best way you can help other people when they're heartbroken, because relatability is so important in this situation. When I got heartbroken, that was the most isolated I've ever felt in my life. And yes, your friends, your family, you know, they all have gone through heartbreak in one form or another. Whether it was losing a relationship or a friendship or a family member, everybody goes through heartbreak. It's honestly, in our human lives, it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. But nobody is experiencing your heartbreak at the same time you are, so you feel really alone in your feelings. At least I did. Maybe somebody watching this video is going through that same thing. Maybe they're going through a heartbreak and they're watching this and they're like, what does this bitch have to say about healing? And I want to share this for those people, not only to help your friends and people who will be going through things in the future, but also for people going through it right now. You know, a relationship is unique to the two people in the relationship, so nobody outside of the two of you understands like truly your relationship, the dynamic of your relationship, the friendships that you had. Like, nobody understands that outside of the two of you, so it's really hard to like relate to someone when you're going through all of this. I'm gonna skip the first like 15 minutes of the video and not react to that part, because the first 15 minutes is me just like explaining why I made the video and then talking about the relationship, like how we met, how our relationship was, and then why we broke up, which none of that really has to do with what I want to talk about today. So to save you all the headache, I mean, for some reason my video was 35 minutes long. Like, we do not need a 35-minute video, Serena. But the rest of the video I want to react to. I want to give you guys my thoughts and feelings on like how I've grown since this all happened. I need this to get through it, let's be honest. I want to provide you guys with a cringe warning, because what you're about to see is very cringy, and I'm sorry, I can't help it, okay? I'm just so dramatic. So please be advised, going forward, you're about to see the cringiest shit you've ever seen, and it's a little bit much sometimes, so that's your warning, okay? And I know that I deserve better. I do actually know that, like, deep down. I don't like tell myself that because
I'm an asshole to myself, but I do know that I deserve better. I don't know if I ever want to find better. I don't know if I ever want to date again, honestly.
I'm sorry, that part was funny.
The thought of like opening up to a new person and like being vulnerable with them and telling them everything like I did with him just makes me want to throw up. I hate that.
This is a super common thing. So it's not even really that you think like this person is my person. It's more like, you know, getting to know someone as deeply as you do when you get into a relationship. The thought at first of like having to go through all of that again when you first break up, it's like overwhelming. You're like, that is so, like, being in a relationship is so intense. You're supposed to know this person so deeply, and the thought of like getting to know a new person on that level is daunting at first. It really is.
When it happened, everyone was saying like, oh, Serena, you deserve so much better. You can get such, like, you can get a man that's so much hotter. You're so much hotter than him. You're so hot. You're this, you're that. Like, basically everything was centered around like my physical appearance.
Right after you go through a breakup, your girlfriends are like, F that guy, you're way hotter than him, you're way out of his league, don't even worry about it because you're super hot, you're gonna find a man that's like way it's like our natural reactions, you know, especially as females, especially as girlfriends. We're like, he wasn't as hot as you, move on. A breakup will always erupt to this point where you're just like, I'm a bad bitch, I can get whatever guy I want. You're just like, you kind of get to your bad bitch moment. But I do think that at first that wasn't really what I wanted to hear, and I'll go on to talk more about this in the video, but I didn't really want to hear that I was like attractive and that's why I shouldn't be sad.
Those are the things that he should have been like, I can't live without them, and he could. Those are the things that I want someone to love about me, and he didn't. So I just got so fucking tired of people telling me that I shouldn't be sad because I was hot. I shouldn't be sad because I'm better looking than him. I don't need that. That's not what I needed. I wanted someone to tell me that I was still funny, that I was still smart, and I still care about people. I wanted someone to tell me that my heart was too good for him because it loved him so much and he didn't care about me at all. I wanted someone to tell me that.
Honestly, that part is hard to watch. It's hard to watch yourself pick apart, not just like your physical appearance, because that's one thing, but like internalizing that there are parts of your personality that he didn't like that is hard to deal with. I think you can tell that, well, you guys didn't watch the whole 35-minute uncut version, but a big, like, one of the points where I get the most upset is when reflecting on the ways that he didn't like love my personality and like want to be with me because like I'm funny and I'm smart. And people coming in to give you advice, they always want to focus on something on the surface, you know. They want to be like, you're hot, you're attractive, you're better looking than he is, he's not gonna get someone as hot as you. And it's like, dude, not physical appearances, they don't mean anything to me, honestly. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not really attracted to people for physical appearances. I know everybody says I'm a personality girl, but like I really am. So like all of that means nothing to me. I'm sorry. It's just like, you may as well have said nothing. But now I'm kind of arrived at the point where I'm just like, you know what? I know I have a good personality. I know I'm a kind person. I know I'm super loyal and like a really good girlfriend. So, I mean, if that wasn't for you, that's fine. Like, I don't care about any of that anymore, but at first.
And that is why I can't love myself right now. That's why I'm so upset, because I don't give a fuck if he thought I was ugly. I don't give a fuck if he thought I was fat. I don't give a fuck if he thought I wasn't sexy. I care that I showed him every corner of who I am as a person, soul deep. And he still didn't want that.
This was a thing that I learned throughout the entire like heartbreak experience that I was going through, was you know, healing isn't linear, and everybody says that, and we're like, what does that mean? When you go through something that is really heartbreaking, you're not just like, if you picture like, I was about to throw in a math reference here, but we're not going to do that. You're here, okay, when you're heartbroken. And people might think that like you're just going to keep going up, 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 towards, I think the top is like healed completely, and that it's always going to be going in this direction. But healing actually looks more like, but healing isn't linear, and you're all over the place until, yes, eventually you do get to the top, you kind of plateau, and then the relationship and the breakup is something that you don't think about at all really, and it doesn't affect your life, and it doesn't make you sad. And I feel like honestly at the top of that is when you kind of get grateful that it happened. I remember when it first happened, I had that period of time that was like maybe lasted like 2 weeks where I just like didn't want to leave my bed, and I was sad and I would cry a lot, and that's like totally normal. Don't think that you're being like some type of way because you're doing that. That's literally a natural reaction to like a heartbreak. Then I went on a date with this guy, and it wasn't like anything serious. I wasn't trying to be like, you know, replacing one boy with another, but I actually for the first time in like a couple weeks had fun. And so then like a couple weeks after that, like I was like still like hanging out with people, making new friends, and I felt like I was healed. There was like one therapy session where we like kind of talked about it a little bit more than normal and started to get in the feels a little bit, and then she recommended I make this video, and then I was like really in the feels, and it was like months later and I was finding myself really upset about it again. So, you know, I was like really feeling over it like a month after it happened, after I hung out with new people and did other things, but then I regressed and went back to like what I was feeling before I got to that place. And so it makes no sense. It's all over the place. It's healing. It's supposed to.
And I don't know if I'll ever want to date someone again. I don't think I will.
I'm sorry. That's funny. I want to show that part to my boyfriend.
Like at first, the first couple weeks, like I really thought that like the world was against me. I thought that God was against me.
I'm sorry, but I'm so dramatic. The world was against me. Serena, like I said, I'm really, really emotional. And I think like the sharpness of the pain that you feel at first when it first happens, it brings up a lot of like dark thoughts if that's something that you're susceptible to, which I totally am. And then that kind of goes on to be like, why me? Why this happened to me? Did I do something wrong? Did I make God angry with me? Why did he take this person out of my life? Why does he not want to be with me anymore? You start to like, literally, it's a spiral. I keep saying spiral, but the thoughts just keep spiraling. But honestly, all those feelings are valid, and that's not even something that's like really that uncommon to think. I know some people aren't like this, but personally for me, like if I'm gonna put the effort into getting in a relationship with someone, it's someone that like I can see myself spending like the rest of my life with. It's not to be like dramatic, but like that's kind of the whole point of a relationship for me. Like if I don't see myself being with them long term, then I don't want to date them. So for me, it's like you had kind of like a vision in your mind for like, I'm gonna be with this person, and when all of that falls apart, it's really like a shock to the system. And there's like several reasons why you would feel kind of like everything is pointless after you get out of a relationship like that.
And I know that he puts people in our lives for like a short period of time to teach us a lesson and for different things. I just felt so abandoned by him. It's like, why did you tell me that this was like who I should be with when it's not? I don't know what's gonna come out of this. I know it's gonna be something great because it's so fucking painful, and usually like the greatest things come out of the most painful thing.
My mom would always say, you know, Serena, you don't see it now because you don't want to see it now. You really don't want to see it. But she's like, eventually, someday, you will see that this all happened for a reason, and you'll get to a place. She was like, I promise you, you will get to a place where you are grateful that even though the situation was out of your control, you'll be grateful that this happened. You'll be grateful that he's not in your life anymore, because you were meant to go on and do bigger and better things, and you were meant to meet people and go places. He would have always been holding you back from that. And she was like, you don't want to see it now. And that's so true. Like I genuinely did not want to hear that. I didn't want to hear all the cliches, everything happens for a reason and you're gonna thank God for this later, and I just didn't want to hear that. I was like, no, I want to be sad and I want you to be sad with me and I want everybody to be sad because I'm sad. I think deep down I knew that she was gonna be right, like eventually, like it would all work out in the end, but she was right. Like I am now in a place where I am like so thankful that this happened. Like I am so grateful and thankful. That's even more cringy than this video. I almost said grateful, thankful, and blessed unironically without even realizing.
Life is bigger than just one relationship. I feel like the most motivated to do something amazing with my life than I ever have, because I've just always had, like, whatever my life plans are, they would always be tied to another person because I've always just been in a relationship, and now I can do whatever the fuck I want with my life. And I love that.
So one of the many important things that I learned from this entire situation, I've learned that love and being in love is going to look different for every phase of your life that you're in. As you grow, as you mature, as you learn, your definition of what like actually being in love is gonna grow and change and mature along with you. That's why I think it's so common to get out of a relationship and then start questioning, like, was I ever in love with them in the first place? Like, was I ever in love with that person? And maybe you weren't, but I think what I've come to terms with and what has made the most sense in my mind is that, yeah, like maybe you weren't ever really in love with him and maybe he was never really in love with you. You probably were never really in love, but you were in love for what you thought being in love was to you at that point in your life, and that's changed obviously as you've changed and grown. And this person that I was so heartbroken over just 1 year ago, I didn't love him 1/10 as much as I love the person I'm in a relationship with today. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I didn't love myself 1/10 as much as I love myself now. I don't feel like you can just sit here and say you've grown and matured and changed without just like going out and showing with your actions and the decisions you make every day. And I don't go seeking out the same toxic things that I used to in people. You know, the people that I surround myself with now are good, wholesome people. They're not people that are quick to lie and manipulate and judge. They're people that are really good freaking people, and I've learned that, you know, if I'm gonna be in a relationship with someone, it needs to be someone who is actually genuinely a good person, and that's what I have now. If I could talk to that version of Serena, and now I'm gonna tear up because this is actually like sad thinking about it. I can remember what that was like. You know, it was just a year ago. If I could tell that Serena anything, I would say, you know, you didn't think that you would ever get over it. Like, you really thought that this was like gonna last forever. You didn't think that you would get over it, but you did. You didn't think that you would ever make any real friends again, but you did. You didn't think that you would ever pass this exam you had to pass to get certified for your career, but you did. And you didn't think that you would ever want to go back to college, but you did. And now you're graduating. You didn't think that you would ever want to move out and live on your own, but you did. You didn't think that you could ever fall in love again, but you did. I wish I could hug that Serena. There's no way you can just like watch your past self cry and not get a little emotional, not want to hug her a little bit. That's kind of weird, but if you guys are going through heartbreak right now, I just want to let you guys know that you're not alone. You are not alone. I don't want to be like so cliche, but everything does happen for a reason. Literally, I went through this heartbreak and then I went on to meet like this incredible person who's now my partner, and I'm so in love with him, and it's like that would have never happened. I would have never met him. I couldn't imagine life having never met him. And you know, this is what heartbreak looks like a year later, and it's pretty freaking incredible. So you're not just like, oh, throwing out all the cliches like time can heal, time will heal. And a lot of people like don't cry to this extent when they're sad, but I do. I feel like it's a super common thing. I feel like it's a super common thing. Oh, it's gonna start.